Okay, here's another video to push back on another person's stupid comment. There's those of you out there, whether it be George Floyd or the gentleman at Wendy's or any of the other people who were shot and killed by police when it didn't have to happen, or kneeled on and killed by police when it didn't have to happen. I love your comments. Well, he was in prison once. He's a crook. Yeah, he was in prison once. He served his time. What? He should be shot because at one point in time in his life he was in prison and he served his time and he got out of prison? Oh, they should have never let him out of prison. Oh, what? So if somebody commits a crime, is sentenced, served that sentence, they should never be gotten out of prison? Not even if it was on petty theft? They should have to rot in prison for the rest of their life? Do you mean that for only black people, or do you mean it for white people too? You think every white person who broke the law ended up in jail or prison should sit in jail and prison the rest of their life? So that statement you made is ridiculous on itself. Secondly, the fellow at Wendy's, he did not have a dangerous weapon. He was asleep in his car. Granted, his car was in a drive-thru. For half an hour, them officers talked to that gentleman without a problem. He did not have a weapon. He did not have a weapon. Yes, in the past, he committed a crime. Yes, in the past, he had to serve some prison time. Yes, he served that prison time and was released. That is not an excuse for him to be shot twice in the back. But that ain't enough. That ain't enough. The officer then had to walk up to him and kick him while he lay there dying. Did he deserve that? Because at one point in time in his life, he was in prison. What if he was a white man? Would you say he would have deserved that? Ask yourself honestly that question. And if the answer is no, then your racist is showing. If your answer is yes, then guess what? You're not looking at things correctly. Because what if it was your husband or your wife? Now, not only did they kick him after they shot him twice, one of the officers stood on his shoulders. He's laying there, shot twice, in the back, dying. And they're standing on his shoulders and kicking him. Now, we ain't finished yet. What's the final straw? It took them a full 2 minutes to call the ambulance. You maybe think they were standing on top of him and kicking him to make sure he was dead before any help came? What do you think? Because if they really was doing it because of the law, you think after they shot him, immediately after they shot him and the threat was over with, which there was no threat, you think maybe they would have called the ambulance to get there immediately? Why didn't they do that? Why? What stopped them from making sure that they got the medical help that gentleman needed right after they shot him. Nothing was stopping him. Why did they have to kick him after he was laying on the ground dying? Why did one of them have to stand on his shoulders while the man died? Hmm? Give yourself them reasonings. Tell me, you think that was justified because he once committed a crime and ended up in prison? That was justified. Then every single solitary white man out there who has ever been in trouble with the law, if he resists getting arrested in any way, shape, or form, they deserve immediately to get shot. Plain and simple. If you say it's okay for the black man, then it's okay for the white man. And then after they get shot, they deserve to get kicked. And then after they get kicked, they deserve to have the officer stand on their shoulders while they die. And they deserve those officers not calling for an ambulance until after they're dead. Because if you're going to think that it belongs to be deserved for that black man, then it belongs to be deserved for a white man. I don't care what crime they committed. If they're a white man, they were ever in prison for absolutely anything, they get out of prison, they get in trouble, the cops have free reign to shoot and kill them for absolutely any reason they can come up with. To kick them after they shot them. To stand on their shoulders after they shot them. To refuse to call for an ambulance after they shot them until they are dead. Cops have any reason they want to sit on their necks until they are dead. If they're restrained, who gives a crap? Put that knee on that white man's neck and kill him. Because that's what they deserve. They've been in jail one point in time. They've had trouble with the law, for God's sakes. They're crooks and criminals. That's all the more they are. Because that's exactly what you're saying about these men who have been killed by officers when it was not necessary. And after they have been shot or whatever, their body being disrespected and the medical help not brought forth for them. Now, you got some people out there saying, well, this happens to white people too. Yeah. White person might have an officer stick his knee on a struggling man's back. Like the one guy for 14 minutes. Wasn't right. Shouldn't have been done. But at least it wasn't his neck. Excuse me, please. Thank you. At least when you're kneeling on a man's back, you've got the potential that you're not going to kill him. You lean on somebody's neck, you got almost a certainty you're going to kill them. I don't care if you're leaning on it here or you're leaning on it here. You're leaning on it here, you're going to break their hyoid bone, which will strangulate them. You lean on it here, though, little does anybody know, you're leaning on the carotid artery. You lean on their carotid artery and they can't get enough blood to their brain. That means they can't get enough oxygen to their brain. And it's just the same as if you leaned on them here. It deprives them of the oxygen they need. Now, you add on to the decreased oxygen from the carotid artery, you then add on to the fact that the person had COVID-19, as in George's case, and you add on to the fact that they have two other people putting their knee on his back so it compresses his chest. So, like with a boa constrictor, he can't breathe in deeply, which decreases even more oxygen. You tell me, what's the predicted outcome? Even if he didn't have COVID, what's the predicted outcome if you're going to decrease the oxygen he's getting from his blood by leaning on his carotid artery, then further decrease his ability to inhale and bring in more oxygen to compensate for the oxygen you're depriving him from in his carotid artery? What do you think the predicted outcome's gonna be? You're gonna kill the man. And if an officer is too freaking stupid to realize that, maybe that officer better be hanging up his damn badge. And if an officer is too much of an ass that he's got to kick a man after he shoots him, maybe that officer needs to hang up his fucking badge too. And personally, my point of view right now, if you've got bigotry and biases in your little brain and you're carrying a badge, and these bigotries and biases can put any human being's life in danger, you need taken off the force. And after you're taken off the force, you need to lose your pension. Plain, simple, and period. If you commit one of these offenses like these officers have, you need taken off the force. You need prosecuted, and you need to lose your pension. The taxpayer should not pay for a crook, a murdering crook, because that's all the more they are, to live out their life comfortably. That's wrong. And that needs to stop. Now, if you don't like what I got to say, that's your problem. But I'm going to say it again. If you think any black man out there deserves to be shot, deserves to die at the hands of an officer for absolutely any and every infraction that is committed, no matter if they're jaywalking or just talking back, simply for the fact that they have in the past committed a offense that ended up them in prison, and they served time in prison and was released, then you'd think that a white man deserves the same treatment. If you can't see that treatment being done for your husband, then you damn well better not be seeing it being done for anybody else. If you can't see that treatment being done to your child, then you better not be seeing it as being done for somebody else's child. Because the only thing you're showing when you make them stupid statements is how bigoted you really are. And don't tell me you're not. Because you sure in hells could not put your husband or your son in that person's place. And I don't know how old some of you people that make these statements children are. But your children got a long life to go. And there's plenty of ways they can get in trouble. End up in jail or prison. And if you get a ticket for speeding, you're a crook. Plain and simple, you've done something illegal. And by your standards, you deserve to be shot by an officer for absolutely any reason they want to shoot you and have their actions justified. Because you got a traffic ticket.